Hello, friends and listeners, party people. Welcome back to an episode of Party XP. I'm your host, Lakan, and joining me is Jeff. Say hi, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
So, Jeff, I'm going to just date this episode a little bit. Year is winding down. We have a little bit of extra free time. Have you been watching anything?
Other than children's entertainment, no.
Okay, to be fair, Bluey does rule. I've actually been watching a lot of Bluey because of your recommendation.
It does.
Before. Yeah, it has become my not comfort show, but like I can easily throw this on and like not worry about it kind of thing. You know what I mean? And like my family could walk by and like it wouldn't feel like they're judging me for watching this kind of show.
Right.
But you know, it's been good. But also for me, I've been binging Arcane season 2, which you never saw the first season, have you?
No, I have not.
No, because I think I've definitely like tried to like convince some of our crew to watch it. I think you might have just dodged me at that point. But since you're here, you're part of the podcast. You can't run away from me, boy. You're watching Arcane season 1, baby.
Oh no. It's been on my list forever. The only reason I haven't really like jumped on it is because like I still like League of Legends. Mm-hmm. We've talked about it how like competitive league events are kind of like my go-to when I'm working on something and I just need something on the other monitor to kind of like not distract me, but like to just keep me sane and have some, audio flying in there.
Yeah.
I still enjoy the game. I just don't have time to play it. And same thing goes with, the lore and the stuff like that. But I'm not like a big this lore kind of people like Jinx, Caitlyn, and I forget the town they all live in.
So Piltover. Piltover and Zaun are the
Piltover
focuses on most of this show.
Right. So like if they did it on like Tryndamere and like the mountain people, I'd be totally into
like
it.
Freljord. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Like I want to like if they did a Freljord series, I'd be in there. Or if it's just like Ramus doing stuff, then yeah, like I'd be in there. But it's just these characters never really appeal to me, so that's why I kind of put it off. But having a reason to watch it now will be pretty cool, and I'm excited. It's getting killer reviews, so like I'm definitely in there. So I would love to be able to watch the first, maybe the second season. I think we'll probably touch on the first, but we can. I think we could touch on the second season by the time we start watching all this stuff and talking about it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how much you can get in basically over the next couple of weeks in terms of especially do your availability and stuff.
Word. But
yeah, like not like it doesn't sound like I'm twisting your arm here to watch this highly acclaimed animated show or anything. Basically,
no, but especially about like a franchise that I like.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not like the end of the world here. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I just kind of wish it was about characters that I really liked.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I understand that. So I mean, with League of Legends, they Riot used to put out these like animations, right, that showed off a bunch of different characters from the different areas, right? They did short stuff with like people from Noxus. They had one of basically it was like a 5v5 situation going on, right? It was like a live dramatized version of what happens in a League of Legends actual match, right? They've also had like animations with just showing the personality of the characters. It's kind of like a character trailer or something, right? They've done this as well. And people over the years have basically just been begging Riot to just make an anime, make a show, something, right? And then in 2019, I think they announced it, that they answered everyone's wishes, right? So Arcane is an adult animated steampunk action adventure TV series created by Christian Link and Alex Yee. It is produced by French animation studio Fortiche and distributed by Netflix. Season 1 was released on November 6th, 2021, and it is set in Riot's League of Legends universe. Again, thanks, Jeff, for dragging me down this universe with you. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
And the story primarily focuses on the sisters Vi and Jinx. Which, I remember when Vi and Jinx were announced in League of Legends, there was one of those things like, oh, are they related somehow? Because, they talk the way the voice lines work and stuff like that, and their order of coming out as characters drew a lot of like curiosity from the player base. Like a lot of conspiracy theories and stuff like that. And then this ended up becoming like one of like the major announcements in terms of like even though they knew before this, they did officially make it like announced to the player base. Yes, they are sisters in the lore. Mm-hmm. Riot Games CEO Nicolas Laurent said it took 6 years to make the first season of Arcane. And again, initially announced during the 10th anniversary celebration of the game in 2019. Combined budget for both seasons is reported to be $250 million, which is not crazy. in comparison to like, a lot of the movies that we've talked about before on this show. But for TV series, I don't know exactly what a TV series is going for, but I remember like some of the Star Wars stuff is way higher than this. I feel like. But you know, 250 mil for all. Maybe we'll get a perspective for it in the second half of the episode, I guess. Or if you want to look it up, I'm finishing off this little spiel. Riot promoted the series through events in their games: League of Legends, Legends of Runeterra, Teamfight Tactics, League of Legends Wild Rift, the mobile version, and Valorant. So they had, you know, there was like a big promotional push because they have a bunch of properties now, right? And then it was initially set to release in 2020, but the show was rescheduled to release in 2021 due to COVID-19. The first season is 9 episodes long, and the season is broken up into 3 episode acts released once a week over 3 weeks. So you got 3 episodes, 3 episodes, 3 episodes. I kind of like that release schedule. You know, it gets you to do a little bit of binging if you want to, but since you have only 3 episodes per week, you get to like chew on it a little bit, right, and try to like think it over and kind of sit on it a little bit and kind of like really enjoy the story as it comes out, and you know, kind of talk about people and kind of create theories and stuff like that. So I think that really helped to push the popularity of it, especially for people like who just wanted to talk about the possible like lore and ideas of the show.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch this when it first came out. I was just really busy at the time when it did. But I think I talked about it. I think I watched it in like 2022. I think it's like near one of the year-end episodes we were talking about it. But yeah, I waited, and I knew I was gonna like it because of course, like all my other friends who played League of Legends really liked it, and they said this is kind of like really in my wheelhouse. So I eventually pulled the trigger on it. I had like a free weekend or whatever, and I just binged it. And yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of this show.
Yeah, I'm excited. You know, it's finally have a reason to watch it. So definitely excited for it, and you know, I'm sure I will enjoy it, but I hope, you know, I hope to.
Yeah.
I hope to be one of the many that enjoy this show.
Absolutely. And again, let's see if we end up going to full season 1 and 2. For now, we'll just say season 1. If you get to season 2, we'll talk about it as well too. But for now, we'll just say safe bet season 1, right? Let's do that. So I'm not forcing you to just slam 18 episodes in a row.
Word.
Cool. Okay, listeners, there'll be a short break here. On your end, it'll be about 5 to 10 seconds. For us, it'll be, I don't know. Let's give it a couple weeks, just because obviously we're watching a whole series here. But we'll see how Jeff feels about Arcane. We'll see you in a bit.
See you later.
Okay, listeners, we are back. It has been weeks, and
it's been beep weeks,
and we have Jeff F back actually joining us for this episode for because Jeff is a big fan of Arcane as well, and he was excited to hop on with us as we got Jeff K to actually watch this damn show. So Jeff K, what did you think?
It's cool, man. It's a cool series. It's beautifully animated. The music's great. The sound design's great. I like where it's headed, right? I just really wish it was League of Legends characters that I liked. Like, I never played Caitlyn. I never played Jinx. I never played Jace, Victor, like any of those people. Heimerdinger, Himmelhonger, whatever you want to call them.
The dogger.
I'm about to name my kid that. Himmerhonger.
Himmerhongle. Yeah.
Don't do that to your kid, man. Don't do that to your kid.
Hibberdanger. It is cool to go in depth in like a game world like this. Like, I'd love for something like this to happen to like Street Fighter.
That'd be sick. Yeah.
Freaking please, yes. Also with Fortiche as the studio, yes.
Right. And that's all I could think about was like, man, I wish this was League of Legends characters I liked, or I wish it was a series that I was super duper into, because this is really great and it's really awesome for like the backstory of all these characters. That being said, like in a vacuum, it is a really good series, and I understand why like everybody loves this show so much, because it is stellar, and I'm excited for season 2. Like, I'm gonna watch season 2, but like the whole time I'm like, man, and throughout the time that we've been off, like they revealed that short for the Noxus series, which has my guy Darius in it, and I'm like, damn, do a series, please. I want more Darius. So like that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, they touch upon the existence of the other nations, right? They meant like I believe there's like hints at Ionia, right? There are like Noxus is explicitly shown, right, with participation with two of the main characters in the first season,
Yeah.
or two of the supporting characters technically, I guess. So yeah, they're just the first dip into this whole world of League of Legends, and they wanted to try to. I think they wanted to try to pick something a bit more smaller scale, a little bit more focused, right, before they fully expand into like the full on territory conflicts and stuff like that kind of occur in the League of Legends world. But no, absolutely, I understand, especially since you being like a Darius fan for your main, I guess.
Yeah, any bulky top laner was always my thing, and then like support kind of too. So like none of those characters fit. None of the characters from like Piltover and the Underground fit that. So it's kind of where I am with this series. But
yeah, they didn't bring in any of the big names. I guess they did bring in a lot of the big names, obviously, but like Singed was there, right? But he's mostly a background character for the most part. Jeff, if you had something to say?
I remember when it started. Shout out to Jack who let me know about it, and was also a long League of Legends player. Like I had never played, I've always wanted to play, never had time, and then I figured by the time that I even did have time, everyone else was so much like light years better than I would be. I'm like, it's okay. Never got around to it. So I was psyched about it. But then everyone's like, oh yeah, I miss my favorite character. Although I think Jinx is the one that was kind of like the headliner, which I believe would make sense. You know, that's why they started the first series with Jinx. Came in not having played it, was psyched about it, and was delightfully surprised.
Yeah, that's one of the nice things of the show, that you don't need to play the game to enjoy the show. And it is kind of like a joke now within the community of like people are like, oh cool, Arcane's really dope. Should I play League of Legends? And then all the League of Legends players are like, don't do that to yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people will like League of Legends players will actively tell people who don't play League to not play League of Legends. Just enjoy Arcane for what it is.
Exactly. I am in that camp.
My mains are not shown in the show. I have played like Vi a lot in the game. I played Jinx as one of my main AD carries, so it's cool to have that, because I have a little bit of attachment to them. But even for the most part, it's just the story, right? Even like when those characters were released in game, there were like all the fan theories like, oh, are they related? You know what I mean, kind of thing, because they talk about like there's like the voice lines in the game that says, oh, think I'm crazy, you should see my sister. And they're like, who's his sister in this game? You know what I mean, kind of thing. So there's like a lot of that going on with like these interactions with the characters that are very small, and then they explicitly say so in the lore in the game client or whatever, right? And then they fully expand a story for it, which is just the cherry on top for all the fans basically of the game in the first place.
And that is my big question. Like, would you agree with that though? Like, it's better for someone who hasn't played, is it better to approach it and then not play the game, or watch it and then get in, or like what are you guys thoughts? What are your thoughts on that?
So there's no single player story for League of Legends, at least like the League of Legends MOBA game, right?
Okay.
Yes.
So like there's nothing that you would gain story wise from playing League of Legends, right?
Okay.
It doesn't advance the story. It's just a bunch of characters that have story with each other fighting in a combat arena, right? So like that's kind of where I'm at. I know that there's a ton of other games in the League of Legends universe that might progress the story forward, but League of Legends itself is not one of them.
Most of the information of characters, like their character bios, the history of the different factions within the world of League of Legends, like there's like this whole thing of like Runeterra, the different nations, like Ionia, Piltover, Zaun, Noxus, so on and so forth, right? A lot of that stuff is kind of is written down in like the character bios. There's also like lore bits they drop, when they're focusing on a specific area or a specific character, like group of characters in the game client, and a lot of it is on the wiki. Like that is a lot of the lore now in League of Legends. Before, there used to be like an in-world newspaper, like a tribunal or whatever it was called.
Right.
That was like the lore drops there, and then they like got rid of that and they revamped the lore completely. Because the story of League of Legends like is a mess. Because before it was like, it was like a combat arena to settle disputes, and then they were just like, we don't know what to do with this story, so they kind of had to reboot the whole thing.
Right. Usually what ends up happening when you have a story before you know what to do with it.
Yeah, exactly.
See Five Nights at Freddy's?
So the current thing of like where Arcane plays in and the way they handle lore now is pretty different from where it used to be. But again, like in terms of like story of like the whole world of the characters is like, it's just a lot of reading at this point. Like, you know, the wikis, the character bios, they do put out a lot of information. You might as well be reading a novel at this point. You know what I mean? If you really wanted to see like all of what's that book for Lord of the Rings that like has like all the information technically in there? It's like essentially it's just like a encyclopedia.
You mean Lord of the Rings?
I was almost just like all of them.
Yes. It's the thing that Amazon has. Like they own it right now, or
The Rings of Power or whatever. Yeah.
I forget what it was called, but
Oh, are you talking about the Silmarillion?
yes, there we go. Like, isn't
okay.
that essentially like a book of information all based around like the Lord of the Rings world, basically?
Right.
Like all of Middle Earth, right? Essentially, that's like what this would be. Like, is you reading that is just a lot of information and context for what the story of League of Legends is. Again, which is a bit of a mess, but I've been there for 10 years, so I'm kind of like in it already. These like little snippets in terms of like what the show actually is like it's just an easier way to digest like a pretty decent amount of the story and kind of understand what the dynamics are within the different factions of the world. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just do a quick summary here, just so we can kind of cover the major points. I'm not gonna do a full like read through of what happens in the entire show. Again, if you haven't watched Arcane, just go watch it. And if have seen it but you haven't seen it in a while and you're kind of like here for us to hear us talk about it and hard beans on it, here's a quick summary for you, okay? So the story is primarily set in Piltover, a utopian city of progress, and Zaun, the gritty, oppressed counterpart city. It follows two orphan sisters, Vi and Powder, whose lives are upended as they participate in a botched heist, setting off a chain of events leading to devastating consequences. Powder accidentally sets off explosive magic during the escape from their heist, which leads to events which end up claiming the lives of their friends, adoptive father, and creating a rift between the sisters. Powder, now alone and emotionally vulnerable, is taken in by Silco, a crime lord working within Zaun, hoping to rise up against Piltover. That's kind of the first two episodes, essentially, right? That's right there.
Right.
Now, a parallel storyline unfolds, revealing Piltover's advancement in hex tech, led by Jace and Victor, two ambitious inventors who came from nothing. The two attempt to fully harness the power of hex tech to create tools with the potential to do so much for all the people. But while the tech has a massive amount of potential, it also threatens to widen the gap once again between the rich in Piltover and the destitute Undercity. Meanwhile, Silco has a consolidated power in Zaun, planning to use his organization and utilize Jinx, formerly Powder, as a catalyst of chaos to upend Piltover's dominance, escalating tensions which leads to open violent conflict between both cities. That's kind of the middle 3 to 5 episodes, right? And then
Yeah, it's broken up into like acts. I
three,
think in
like
certain
kind of
things.
3 episode arcs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I think they also released in 3 episode arcs when it first came out. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that in the first half of the episode. Okay. And so season 1 concludes with dramatic confrontations and reveals as many characters face the consequences of their actions. Once the sisters reunite, Vi realizes that Jinx is no longer the Powder she once knew, though she continues to try and protect and undo the damage inflicted upon her sister's psyche. Jinx, torn between her sisters and Silco's influence, makes a decision that ends up redefining their relationships and shapes the future of both cities. Jace struggles between his responsibilities, political connections, and fucking, and after becoming a counselor, has to face the repercussions and bastardizations of his discoveries.
Yo, let it play a play. Come on.
Yo, man, base throws down, son.
Yeah.
Victor, Jace put the hammer down.
Yeah.
Victor becomes more and more desperate to push his research further to help the people he once came from and to prolong his life, or in best case scenario, permanently cure his ailments. Both wanting to help people at their core, while the other elite want them to make their discoveries into weapons. Don't go play League of Legends, or do, your choice.
Like how that's the PSA at the end.
That's what. Yeah, it's like, don't do it, or do. I don't care. Just I personally say don't do it. If you don't have a lot of time, don't play League of Legends. But yeah, that's kind of like the important like notes of it. It gets to the show. We can obviously go into a little bit more detail about specific events that happen. Anything that you guys really wanted to like pinpoint like in the throughout the show that you guys like wanted to touch upon?
Story-wise, yeah, one big thing is that I need to mention, and I've seen this mistake happen. I remember going to go watch Sausage Party, and some people brought their kids in. So this is not a show for kids, okay?
No, it is an adult show. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
Right.
I think it's labeled as like TV-14 on Netflix.
I was gonna say this is definitely like a YA
Yeah.
Yeah.
teenage
Or
and
more.
up story.
Like there's a little bit of spicy language, right? A little bit of
Right.
cursing. I mean, 2 teenagers die in the first. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
in the was it the rescue
The
scene?
third episode, yeah,
Yeah.
or something like that. Second
Yeah,
or third
like
episode.
so they didn't shy away from just killing them. Like they
Right.
should have just showed them getting murked, even if it was an accident, right? But
And there is a minimum of 2 sex scenes throughout the whole series. So
Yeah.
just letting you know, don't watch it with your
Yeah.
parents. Don't watch it with your kids.
or do
Yeah.
and just look your parents directly in the eyes.
That's weird.
Ooh, shout out to Nat, who's my cousin's kid, and actually did that during the watching of 300 Part 2.
It's really awkward.
Oh yeah.
Wait, 2 sex scenes? I mean, there's the one with Jace and Mel, right? Is that her name? Mel.
He's referring to the other
Spoiler
one
alert,
from
man!
season 2.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, just kidding.
Hey, we already told them to go watch the series, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
we said to go watch it.
Watch the series, but like it's not. This is not Inside Out. Okay, this is in and out, at least a
Yeah.
couple times.
right.
Yeah, again, it says TV-14. I think because Netflix technically goes by the TV ratings, right? They don't go by like MA or whatever.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, like again, like I was pleasantly surprised when I watched this show, and I was because like obviously Zaun has that like gritty undersea type of energy already anyway, and I was curious to see how far they were gonna go with it the first time I watched the show. So it was kind of like a nice touch that they know that a majority of their player base started playing this game when they were younger and kind of grew with the story. You know what I mean?
Is this a safe space?
Go for it.
I want to kick Jinx down a flight of stairs. Most
That's kind
annoying
of the-
fucking character. In the
Yeah, that's kind of the point, man. Like
I know.
she's not a she was a good character, right? That's kind of the whole point.
Yeah.
She's psycho. That's the kind of the thing. She had a mental break.
and is it weird that I'm like aroused though?
A little.
Like-
no,
like-
not really. Actually,
No, not
like-
really. I kind of get it. I was kind of like she like when she's grown up and she's like she's an adult. It's like I can fix her. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Is that
Right,
like
right.
or I want her to ruin me? It's one of the two. That's kind of the appeal of her. You know what I mean? She is honestly like a lot of the characters here are like tragic characters, right? They've all got some sort of fuckery with them. A lot of people like I remember when I was talking about it the first season of the show. Some people said it was kind of fast, like how her psychotic break. But I think it's the intensity of the events that makes it happen, right?
Right.
Like I'm not crazy here. Like I thought it was
right.
perfectly fine.
It's the trauma of the events, and also like there is a time jump, and possibly even 2 time jumps, but like definitely one where she's a child and then is an adult. And if you're at episode 3, between 3 and 4, okay, no, not much of a spoiler alert. But yeah, I'm sure there are other time bridges after that. So it's enough time for her to go psycho, and she probably had it in her somehow too. Also considering that drugs or shimmer is part of the story, so makes sense.
I don't recall if explicitly Jinx has taken Shimmer. I don't think she did. She was exposed to it afterwards, right? Near the
Right.
end of the season, in the first season.
Right.
Yes, because she needed to be rescued, right? Silco brought her back to Singed. Okay. But yeah, like, I think it was more just her psychotic break, and then Silco kind of, like, molding her, right? He kind of,
Right.
like, he used her as a tool.
Because that's a
essentially, so.
weird relationship. It's like father-daughter, but like daddy-daughter, not father-daughter, like daddy-daughter.
Well, yeah, because the previous relationship before that, their parents were murdered on the bridge in the beginning of the show, right?
Right.
And then they were
they
taken
have-
in by Xander.
Right, and then they have the father and daughter with, what's his name? The guy that had the punchy things first.
Oh, Vander, yeah.
Vander,
yeah.
right. And then you get
Vander
her
fucking
relationship
rules. Vander's
with
an awesome character.
Silco. Silco?
Silco, yes,
Yep,
he's the
Silco.
Chronicles.
Sorry, I keep getting Sopranos YouTube shorts, so Silvio runs through my head all the time.
It's cool how Arcane ends and they're in a diner, and then you don't know.
And then it just goes black and Bon Jovi's playing. Anyway, yeah, but then like that relationship between Silco and Jinx is like daddy daughter. Like it's weird. Like she's all over him, and I don't know, man. It's weird.
Yeah.
It feels a little Pornhubby.
I think it's supposed to be off kilter. That's kind of the whole point, right? Because she was literally left alone by her own sister at that time, right? She thinks her sister abandoned her.
Correct.
So essentially, Silco's her only, quote unquote, family at that point. So I can understand why she has this very, very strong attachment to him. Not in a sexual sense, but it is like, I think that's unfortunately the kind of just our brains now.
I don't know, man. She's like a grown woman. She's like sitting on his lap and like playing with his hair and shit. Like,
no, I get it. Though. Again, I think again, it kind of proves the point that it is meant to be unsettling as well too, because we know that Silco's not a good person. You know what I mean? Like she's clearly he's using her.
Yeah.
And he's like, again for lack of like better wording here, but he groomed her, right? He groomed her into basically being like a weapon. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because
that's true. Yeah.
He encouraged her like explosive tinkering, right? You can see that she's like she's a terrorist, right? She literally creates explosives and shit. She literally blew up like a tent during a celebration, in episode 4, right? That's when it happened. Yeah, she's crazy. Again, he's using her clearly to push his power forward. So no, I understand why. That's my understanding of like why it feels so uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Even though he does like claim to care for her, I think he doesn't actually care for her as like a father figure. You know what I mean? Like what he I think convinced her.
Right.
What he is. Yeah.
Although I don't know, I think that's a little subject to debate. At the beginning, definitely there was that user relationship, but then after a while, it might have mutated into him caring for her. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen it, but that's something that I'd like to go back and just to double check. Yeah.
Well, there's also that bit where he does bring her to Singed, right? And says like she can't die, like she needs to live, kind of thing.
Right.
And then of course the interaction with them at the end of the season at the table, right? When Caitlyn, Vi, and Silk are all tied up. So like there's also that where it's like, oh no, he genuinely cares for her. But I think again earlier on it feels more that he's like just trying to like, she's like kind of like a wild animal. He's just trying to keep it kind of like leashed up a little bit, or keep her kind of under his control as much as he possibly can. I want to touch upon here like again like thematically or stylistically the show. Like I love the look of like Piltover and Zaun. They have this very, very distinct style to them. There's this like steampunky aesthetic, right? But like the other one is definitely a lot more like grimy, right? It's very dirty feeling. And you could tell even just from the character interactions, like like when the guards go down there, they're like, oh, these people are filth. You know what I mean? They look there's clearly like a division of power here, and like obviously like the uniforms are very posing. They like with the masks and the silhouettes of the uniforms, but then you still see even down there though the people down in Zaun have like a sense of like pride and power still. They can't just be walked all over.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Like they're always down to keep each other safe.
The bar scene, like that's like one of my favorite. Like that's one of my favorite bits. Actually, what's the name of the first enforcer who gets murked? Who's friends with Vander?
The older lady, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't.
I have her name here. Let me find it. Hold on 1 second. Grayson. Grayson. There we go.
Yeah.
Also voiced by Shore Agdashlu. She's the one who voiced Lakshmi in Destiny.
Oh, nice.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that lady.
I knew I heard that name.
She's a fantastic actress, and I love her voice.
She's awesome.
Yeah. She was also in a bunch of TV shows as well too for a while, and I think she was in The
Expanse. She plays the president, and if you haven't seen The Expanse, extremely recommended. And coming from a scientist, it is also known as the so far most scientifically accurate sci-fi show. So go check out The Expanse.
I think she also in The Punisher season 1. She was the mom, right? She was the mom of the CIA agent.
I mean, essentially in any show or movie, if you hear a brown lady who sounds like she's been smoking a little bit too much, that's probably her.
Yeah, but commanding voice though. Like,
oh hell yeah,
she's so good. Yeah, like I get any stand-up performances actually in the cast we're talking about it right now for y'all.
Oh yeah, I mean, all the main characters are great. I mean, for me, it's like Jace's whole like character arc and the actor playing him, and I think
Kevin Alejandro is voice is Jace Talus, by the way.
Yeah, I like the guy who plays Heimerdinger too.
Yep.
I like little Heimerdinger. He just kind of like waddles around. He's so little and fuzzy.
Mick Wingert.
Okay. Yeah. For me, it's those two guys. I mean, everybody's great. I mean, there's nobody in this series where I'm like, oh no, there's the weak link. It's a really tight chain.
Right. There's no Russell Crowe from Les Miserables.
Lakan, remember when we did John Wick and like we had the adjudicator?
You weren't a fan of the adjudicator.
Yeah. There was nothing like that stood out to me that was like, oh no, that's the person that's not pulling their weight. Like everybody plays their role perfectly. Even despite my feelings about the character, the actress that plays Jinx is perfect, right? For what she's
Ella Purnell
doing.
is
I was going to chime in on that one because I definitely got a thing for Ella Purnell ever since Miss Peregrine's School for Peculiar Children, or whichever one that was. Yeah.
I mean, we've got partial Filipino Haley Steinfeld as Vi.
Oh, that makes sense too.
Yep.
So that's also pretty awesome for us. We got to claim her. She's part. We got to claim her for the people.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Philippines.
Oh yeah. So Jeff, if you aren't aware enough, like if there's any, it's almost like Native Americans. If there's any smidge of lineage towards Filipinos, like for example, we claim Olivia Rodrigo, Bruno.
Oh no,
Mars.
I know that part.
Yeah.
Definitely. I know Bruno Mars. I know Joe Coy. Like is. I think he's half, but like he's the Filipino.
He's all ours. He's all ours, exactly.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
It's claimed. So we also claim Arcane. So Arcane is a Filipino show.
No, I didn't know Haley Steinfeld was half or partially. Like that was where my mystery came from here.
We claim Arcane over what was the Filipino? I think it was like Tress. I think it was like the show.
Oh no, dude, we fully claim. Okay. We fully claim Tresse, with the exception of Shay Mitchell, who has outed herself. So yeah.
I don't know.
The one that can't read.
She's the one who claimed that she was Filipino and then claimed she was Mexican all of a sudden.
Oh.
I mean,
so she
basically the same.
Oh, is she like persona non grata here now?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, like Tresse was like a decent show. It was fine. It was like it was for the culture.
Okay, true. And I liked it. The artwork was good. I have the comics. Yeah.
There was one of the characters that I really, really liked, and I wish they kind of expanded on her more. And a little bit of spoiler, they do a little bit more in the second season. It was Mel's mom. I forgot her name.
Oh, Ambessa. Yeah, Ambessa. Like, hey, mommy, I've been bad. Spank me.
Like something about large muscular woman just really gets me interested.
Right?
Also, like, because she does play like that. You get that flashback scene with her and young Mel, right? Which kind of touches on like that ruthlessness of Noxus.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a hint of it there, and then she also clearly knows how to play the game because obviously like Jace is like the least experienced fully within the politics world, right? At least because in that parallel storyline going on.
And she uses the most powerful tool to get him on her side.
Yes, exactly.
Pussy.
Like
exactly. Yep.
Because because even Mel like played the game clearly better than him, right? She was in that the theater, right? And she said like you have to use your connections, and then you see like a short kind of like not montage, but like him going to the different booths and like shaking hands and making deals with everybody else from the council.
Yeah.
Yep.
But again, you kind of can see like, okay, Mel can play the game. Oh, her mom plays the game way better than her. You know what I mean? It's like it's very much so like it's very explicit in terms of how powerful like politically her mother is. But yeah, even though we didn't get to see a lot of her, it kind of felt like to me it felt like a Boba Fett situation where it's like we don't get to see a lot of her, but like the moments we do see her, she really shines kind of thing.
Oh, and some other ones to bring up too. For the Harry Potter fans, Cho Chang shows up as Caitlin.
Yes, Caitlin Young.
Yeah, might not know about that. And for the Game of Thrones fans like myself, you have from the first series, you have the first Viserys, who's the brother of Daenerys Targaryen, showing up as Victor, everyone's favorite Russian MacGyver person.
Harry Lloyd.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And also nothing here too where this is gonna be a little bit more focused on like the difference between the game and again it's kind of like limitations of like the game graphically and even like artwork wise, but you can see that the characters are a lot more ethnically diverse than they look like in the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jace Jace Talus is like, you know, he's coded like as being like Latino or Hispanic, right?
I can see that. I can see that definitely.
Caitlyn, again, like, there's a lot of lore that I haven't read through, or I don't know if I missed it or whatever, but I believe she's mixed Ionian and like from Piltover, she's like so, and like Ionia is heavily implied to be like East Asian. Like you can see with like the characters like Aurelia, who looks very Asian. She's from Ionia. They have a lot of the Eastern designs in their costumes. What is it? Again, like Noxus, I believe is like one of the nations that is not specifically like there's no specific race within their nation because Noxus is a conquering nation. They're kind of like what the Mongols were, where they took over, but they're like, okay, cool, like you just live under us now, kind of thing.
Right.
So you can see a lot of these things. Because again, I didn't assume Jace was any sort of anything. I assumed he was a white character.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
And you look
Right.
at his skins, but then you see like, oh no, he's got a little bit of olive or some tan in his skin. You know what I mean? Especially like later on. And also even like a little bit of the way he speaks, because again he's voiced by Kevin Alejandro. So
Right.
there's that too.
Yeah, like I would say what, like 75% of the characters in League of Legends are just nondescript light-skinned person.
Yeah, it's usually like white or Asian in like
Right.
slightly, and then you'll see like the ones who are clearly like okay like darker skinned. Like there's a lot of like African inspired characters or like Latin Latin or Hispanic inspired characters now with darker skin and stuff like that. But yeah, majority of the cast is just kind of like white and Asian. for the
Right,
most
generic light, like most early '90s anime characters.
part. Yeah,
Like they're Japanese, but they look white, and they're just sort of nondescript characters, right?
Yeah, and again, partially it's like, you know, kind of chalk it up to graphic limitations of the game because like obviously they're not focusing on graphics, they're focusing on gameplay.
And also because they didn't know. Number one, this game started like 15 years ago, before you had a lot of this like inclusion in games, right?
Yeah,
And
before
then
the
number
characters were
two,
fully fleshed out as well too.
and then also like they didn't know what they were doing with the story. Like they didn't know what Noxus was going to be or what Piltover was going to be. They just were like, oh, she's the sheriff, and oh, he's the champion of this place, and what's that place? Oh, who knows? He's just the champion.
This
There he is.
person's really good with swords. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's like okay, like I mean obviously like a lot of the I forgot what
There's a polar bear.
Yeah, there's a bunch of like Arctic or like, you know, snowfaring. There's
Right.
a bunch of
Where are they
snowfaring
from? I don't
states.
know. They're from Antarctica. I don't know.
Yeah. So there's a lot of that going on.
There's a robot. He made
But,
him.
like-
Did he? What was the story about that? I don't know.
But getting to see the characters here in this show gets to, you know, you get to actually see a little bit more of like the, you know, what they intended for these characters to actually be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it actually brings them to life.
Absolutely.
Instead of just making them just functions in a game, right?
Yes.
Which is cool.
One of the performances I want to point out is JB Blanc as Vander / Warwick.
Yep.
He becomes Warwick. Kind of a spoiler.
Whoa.
Not even a spoiler. You can see him. You literally see it happen.
I don't know
I guess
because
that's true, but listen.
I didn't
Whoa.
know until we knew. So yeah.
And duh, like Reed Shannon as Echo. He killed like I like Echo goes from the, you know, he's like the little kid brother in the show,
Right.
and then he becomes like
A leader.
he's just a cool character. Eventually, he was like, let's go.
Yeah.
And also Echo is like a dope character. Like I know people. There was a time when people hated him in actual gameplay league because he was like his kit was way too overloaded. But no, like I think Echo's actually genuinely just a really cool character.
And yeah, looking
Again,
through the cast, actually, Mini Driver shows up. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Wow.
the cast is very, very wide here. Again, I got a couple of things here I want to touch upon here. again, like I like some of the smaller plot points that kind of get touched upon, or kind of they like ramp up, but then the focus changes a little bit, right? Like Jace and Victor's use of technology, right? They were trying to help people, but then of course there's always like the thing is like the people up top will always try to weaponize it.
Yep.
It gets touched upon pretty hard in season 2. Again, I know Jeff K, you haven't seen it yet, but it becomes like a major point in season 2 versus them saying it in season 1.
Right. Well, and I mean it's only natural because when you play the game and you see what these characters become, I mean, Jace has the big hammer that shoots things, and Victor has the
death ray,
basically like the spider suit, right? Like the Iron Spider suit, right? Like
with the extra arm.
You see Blitzcrank, you see Heimerdinger with the turrets and everything. Like what eventually becomes of these people. So like. It's just how we get there, but like understand that eventually it was going to turn into that the hex tech was going to turn into a weapon because you see the weapons in the game.
Yeah, which I do actually like when thinking about it now. Like I do like the fact that like Heimerdinger is so against it. When obviously in game everything he uses is hex tech weaponry, but like in the show I do like the fact that they make him kind of like, because again like Yordles live a very long time, right? Lore wise, that he talks about it. He's seen like other civilizations crumble once they try to once there's like this attempt to use the arcane.
He said it. Put the Pee Wee Herman. He said the name. I didn't even notice it.
He doesn't explicitly say arcane, but obviously he talks about like the magic and the arcane.
Kind of like how in Walking Dead they never refer to them as zombies, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly, kind of like that.
Nice.
One of my favorite scenes, I guess, like one of the things I want to talk about is like my favorite scene is that fight between Echo and Jinx on the bridge.
Oh hell yeah!
Very stylistic, right? They start off just doing regular animation. The music kicks in. You see Echo with the watch, right, like swinging it from in time with the music, and then it switches to this kind of like not stop motion. I don't know what to call it. But you know what I mean, like where they it's just like they move like it moves almost like a slideshow.
Right, it's like stylistic,
like an animatic almost.
Right, at 4 frames per second, which plays an interesting and an important role. Yes.
And they flash between like the older Echo and Jinx versus like young Echo and Powder.
Right. Playing up the relationship between them.
What was you guys? You have a favorite scene throughout the first season?
I'm trying to like think. I watched a lot of it like in a row, so like it was just kind of like all at once here.
Yeah, visually it is a lot, to be fair. I get it.
Yeah.
I think I do like the animations when Jinx is having like her breaks and it's like the relics from the past come back to like find her. I do like when Vi puts on the punchy gloves and starts punching things when she's little, and they do the first fight at the end of the first arc in Silco's Silco's area there, the Shimmer, whatever it is, Shimmer Factory.
Yeah. That's a good extended fight scene.
Yeah, and it's just like it's cool because you, like I said, like how where the characters become, and Vi has the punchy things.
Yeah, and she's like a boxer and she does all the style. Yeah, no, absolutely.
So it is cool.
Even Jace gets that little shield that he gets when he changes. I think it's like his W in hammer form, I believe it is.
Right.
Where he gets that little electrical shield around him. It was again just like a nice little touch. It's like like I didn't know they were going to be able to implement that whatsoever into his abilities or whatever he's going to be using in the show.
I also dug like his family's the hammer makers, and then like it comes to be that he has like the big hammer in the game. I thought that was cool. That might have been something that they talked about in like the lore. I didn't know. Again, like I didn't play any of these characters, so I don't know that much about them, but I just thought again like it was cool that he was the Hammer family.
Yeah, he had a really good character story arc, I think. Again, he also fucks in the show, like literally. So there's that too.
Well, he has plenty of fucks. He just gives them to one person.
What about you, Jeff F? You had a particular favorite scene in the first season?
First season, yes, definitely. When you see, in any of the scenes where Jinx has like that breakdown, or like you mentioned, any of those like really, really pivotal character scenes, and then yes, the fight scenes, love them. And it's been a while since I saw the first season. Second season is freaking amazing. Yeah, those are the ones that stick out. I mean, I don't know if I should say mention the ones about the second season because, like Jeff, I don't want to spoil it for you. Like,
Yeah, we're gonna
I
hold
thoroughly
off on
enjoyed it.
season stuff.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, no, it is something that I'm gonna have to catch up with because this is really cool. Like the whole series is really cool, and I'm hoping for the extended universe to come and introduce the other characters to it. But no, I definitely want to follow up with season 2 next time we do this.
okay.
Absolutely.
That being said, there is a dance scene, which I think is probably one of my favorite scenes in the whole series. There's another fight scene that almost reminds me of Las Vegas. There is a gambling aspect to it, sort of. I freaking like that fight scene, and of course the last ones too. And then of all the questions, what happens, with this person and that person, and all the other good stuff. So, a lot of great things in store for you, my friend.
That's exciting, yeah.
And thoroughly enjoy it. Yeah, and once again, I enjoyed it thoroughly. Not having coming in with completely fresh, never played the game. Wish I did, but yeah, totally enjoyed it. Oh, what?
No, I'm just like just knowing what I know about competitive team-based games, especially what League of Legends has turned into. You don't really need to play it. Just wait for some single-player games if you want to play Wild Rift, because at least it's like you can play it on PC. It's technically the mobile port, but the games take shorter, and I feel like it's a little less toxic, and people take it less seriously than the actual League of Legends. I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong, but
I don't know. And that's the thing too, because there's such a
too.
community built around it. Like I didn't even know. I mean, I'm like, oh hey, a bunch of my friends play it. Sounds cool. Never really had the time.
I mean, yeah, you mentioned Jack. So like,
yeah.
like me, Jack, and like, I don't know, maybe like close to 20 of our friends. Like we all played regularly all throughout college. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Because again, big game, it's free, multiplayer online, so like we can all play it even when we're broke college students.
right, exactly.
And it's easy to get 10 people all together to just play. You know what I mean? If you wanted to do like in houses and stuff, but again, it's got a big community around it, so that's kind of like why we were so excited for the show to pop off for when it did. You know what I mean? Because we were like, the fear would be like, oh, the show comes out and it's just ass, and we're like, well, there goes that. You know what I mean? Like there goes all the momentum that we were hoping for.
But I mean, prior to the past few years, that was kind of par for the course. Like, oh, there's video game adaptation. It's going to be trash. Like, but now I'm like, this is like,
have you guys watched Dota 2's animation?
No, and
no,
is
that a thing?
I was curious
Dota 2
about that.
had their anime come out first, and it was not great. I'm not gonna actively shit on it because I don't know the lore of Dota 2, but I have friends who are Dota 2 players over League players, and I remember them saying, like, when they watched Arcane, that it's not fair that Arcane has like a top quality show on its hands. From my understanding, the Dota show got better as it went on, but like Arcane came out of the door fucking swinging.
Yeah, and they never stopped. I mean, all the way up until the last second. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it, and it made my wife cry. So
Well, that's the thing too, right? Because again, even if you didn't have no connection to the game whatsoever, like again, the story writing, like the writing is good.
oh hell yeah,
A lot of character development, right? Like even like seeing like Caitlyn being the prim and proper, right? Because she comes from a wealthy family, she ends up becoming an enforcer, right? And then she gets dragged down to Zaun with Vi, right? And Vi knows how to fucking work things down there, right? Work with money, how to move information around. They go to like a brothel, right?
Yeah, literally navigate down there.
Yeah.
Like you see how Caitlyn struggles to climb down, and Vi is just like whoosh, 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 whoosh.
And then we eventually get to see Caitlyn a little bit more, like, okay, understanding how to kind of do her job, essentially, right? Because she like, okay, well, you can't play by the book all the time. Yeah, there's a lot of like obviously a lot of character focus on the show as well too, because that's kind of like one of the things I was worried about because there's so many characters in the show.
yep.
But everyone has an arc, and it all kind of moves pretty well, right? Like I don't think anyone is exactly got left behind per se.
No.
And it never felt it never felt like a drag. It never felt like there were any like weird time warps like what happened in Game of Thrones season 7 and 8. So yeah, I mean, it's funny coming from a huge Game of Thrones fan that I have less complaints about this show than I did with that one. So yeah,
so I never watched Game of Thrones, but I know season 7 and 8. I know like pacing got off. Is that a writing issue?
Yeah, I mean, basic idea was that they ran out of the source material, so the producers
Okay.
and the showrunners were kind of like left on their own. I mean, they had the basic idea, but they executed it poorly.
Got it. Okay, okay. Yeah, because again, like when I look at this show, even like because I watched it like again like half a year after it came out. I watched it again, like I watched it a couple times now, but then I watched it again before we got back to recording this, right? And I'm just like, I like even like with a little bit of time away from it, I'm just like, man, this is just really, really well done. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I thought I was meant to be able to like nitpick and of course, if I nitpick everything and anything and just kind of become a stickler, yeah, I'll find something that I can complain about. But like overall, like there's nothing really for me to like really take away from the show aside from like I guess technically one character doesn't exactly follow his character story in the game, technically. But it's like again, I'm considering it like almost like an alternate universe kind of thing almost. And that's like strictly like Victor is who I'm specifically talking about. Because in game, he's kind of like a space marine in a respect where he's like once I like realized the weakness of my flesh, it disgusted me kind of thing. Where
That's pretty sick.
where Victor in the game is like no, metal is the way that we should exist as. You know what I mean? Like he's
Right.
like he's a bunch of acolytes where he's like
Well-
no, this is the way it should be. Versus in here where it's, he's more like he's just trying to use it to prolong his life essentially
Right.
for the story.
Right.
We see-
Remember though,
we-
he's younger here.
Yeah, that's
The
that's
Victor
fair.
we see is like a well-grown man
Yeah.
in League of Legends. So your beliefs change, your life changes. I'm sure we'll find out how he gets to that point. But the thing I kind of had to remember was like this is before
the
League of
characters we
Legends.
experience. Yeah.
Right, exactly. This is before we get League of Legends, so that's why it's like looking at things and things people don't look the way they look in the game. It's like, well, because this is taking place beforehand, so you got to give them some time to become those characters.
Absolutely. Minor spoiler for season 2, but they touched more on Victor's progression.
Yeah,
I'm not. That's all I will say because I don't want to explain
Well,
what
of
happens
course.
there, but there's still something for me to nitpick there. But yeah, like it's this again is I think remind myself it's not a 1-to-1 of the game
and
to the show.
I think the big benefit too. The last thing I'll say here, is that they did a good job keeping the story contained, so nobody got lost. Think about League of Legends now, right? Like 100 and what champions now?
170-ish now.
Exactly.
Oh, dang.
Imagine if you had to shove them all into here.
Yeah, we're dealing with what like specifically league characters. What
You're dealing with what, 7?
Vi, Jinx,
Jinx, Caitlyn.
Singed, Jace, Caitlyn, Victor,
Heimerdinger.
Warwick, Heimerdinger. Is that it basically?
So how much was that? I lost count.
So like 7 or 8 maybe at
Yeah.
most.
So I think that it did a really good job of and then you have the ancillary characters that are introduced throughout the series as well that fill up the story, but they didn't overwhelm you too much, which is good.
Yeah.
I thought.
It's good also in the fact that like they're ancillary characters, but they still feel important to the show. They don't feel like they're just like you're like, oh, here they are to dump exposition for you. You know what I mean? Like they were actually able to tell story through those characters.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of like really it for me. Again, there's kind of like more specific stuff that I have like notes on, but like it really depends if we even wanted to get too far into it. But like again, I'm sure we've covered a good amount of just like what we enjoyed about the show. So you said you binged it, right, for the most part?
Me, yeah. So I watched 1, 2, and 3, and then I watched 4 through 9 all together.
Oh damn.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, I mean it did what I had to do, right? Given
Yeah.
my last 2 weeks, I had to do what I had to do.
What about you, Jeff? When you watched it, did you watch it when the show came out, or did you watch it like after? Because you said Jack introduced you to it, right? I think I also remember you asking me if if you should watch Arcane as well too, which is funny because again I said at the time I hadn't watched it because I said I'm going to wait until it's done, so I can not be influenced by everyone else's opinions on it. So you actually technically watched it before I did.
Which is weird, yeah, because I'm like, you played the game, so.
Yeah, no, I really wanted to wait and kind of get away from the hype of it, so I could watch it without anyone else's opinions. You know what I mean? Kind of touching,
Yep.
kind of impacting my view on the show. But yeah, did you watch it as it came out?
Yeah, watched it as it came out. So thoroughly enjoyed it that way, and that's also my preferred way to watch a show, especially like catch it before anyone else says anything, before any spoilers are out there. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it, and I mean, as a matter of fact, when I finished it, I was so blown away. I'm like, hey, you guys gotta watch it. You ever heard about it? No, watch it. And the word that I would use to describe it, at least season one, would be Shakespearean, because the characters go through so much. A whole bunch of things happen, and just like in Shakespeare, there's a sex scene. So yeah, I mean, yeah,
As simple as that. That's literally all it is to be Shakespeare. Just add one sex scene.
plus fight scenes. Yeah.
Parent issues, right?
Oh, parent issues.
A lot of mommy and daddy issues.
Oh yeah.
That again is kind of one of the major points for Powders and Jinx's break, essentially, right? That's another point of it. So, literally watching Vander, quote unquote, die, right? Essentially. But yeah, no, absolutely. There's again a lot of major themes that are explored throughout the show, like like classism, familial relationships, choices, right? Consequences for your choices.
And they did it really well. It's not like it's not like certain things, Disney, I'm looking at you, where they take themes and they shove it in there, sticking square pegs into round holes.
There's like moments where it's a little bit preachy.
A little bit, but
But like overall, it doesn't feel like cringy. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
like again when it feels so damn heavy-handed.
yeah. Although I mean, in all honesty, it is a very serious show.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Not a lot of comedy.
I
Yeah.
can also argue this it's a show again because I think they wrote this for, their player base were probably kids or like young adults when they started playing the game. You know what I mean? And the fact that the show took like 6 years or so to develop, right?
Mhm.
By the time the show was ready to go, most of their players, at least from early on, who were very dedicated to the game, were like adults. You know what I mean? So they were ready to do like an adult story, but like that's still available to the younger adults. But like they didn't want to like soften it up too much. They wanted it to hit hard story wise and like and theme wise. Yeah. Anything else going to touch upon? I think we can wrap up here if you guys have got nothing else.
Oh, I actually do have a couple more things in terms of wrapping up, because after watching the show, you know how it is. Like if there's a show or a movie or something that's really good, I love to go down the rabbit holes. Dune is a huge example of where like, okay, I got to go down the rabbit hole. And there's, it just gives you that much more, and it fleshes it out even better. In the case of Arcane, of course, there's the material as you mentioned, and as I mentioned, haven't played the video game, but didn't need to. Perfectly fine. And it's cool because there is also a series, you can watch it on YouTube, called Arcane Bridging the Rift, where they talk about how they developed it. That is also awesome to look at. So check that out, and then check out all the other stuff. Because we just talked about the story, the characters, that kind of thing. Another thing that like just really got me sucked into the show was like every frame is gorgeous. Like every frame could be a painting.
Oh yeah,
like, it's an artistic masterpiece. So that there are just so many reasons to watch it, and I can't think of any reasons not to. Asterisk, don't watch it with your parents, don't watch it with your kids, or do if you want to.
No, do not watch this with your parents. Do not watch it with your children. This is insane.
I think the one thing, I think I might have mentioned in the first half of the recording with Jeff K, but yeah, it has the same energy as like the Spider-Man animated movie, like the Spider-Verse movies, where you can pause it anywhere and a single scene looks like a comic panel.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And there's so much to tell just in that single still image. Yeah, no, again, like fantastically animated show. I think the character designs are all pretty damn good. The fact that they made Heimerdinger work without making it very like weird looking, was a really big thing. Even like having the poros around, it was like these little puffballs. Yeah, no, again, it's like very fantastically animated. The story's pretty damn good for a video game story. Again, kind of like this is one of the first series that came out, or first project that came out based around a video game that actually received like a wide acclaim for it, right? Because before this, we were getting stuff like the original Mario movie, or the Assassin's Creed movie with Jake Gyllenhaal,
or Prince of Persia, which
or not? Prince of Persia. I mean, sorry, Prince of Persia. What did I say? Assassin's Creed. Sorry, Prince of Persia with Jake Gyllenhaal.
before this, you would get video game adaptations that were either okay or absolute disgusting rubbish. House of the Dead movies. I'm looking at you. Mm-hmm. Anything by that director, looking at
Doom.
you.
The Doom movie.
Yeah, Doom. Yeah, had nothing to do with it.
That was the one with the Rock, right?
Yes, the
Doom
Rock.
had the Rock in it. Yeah.
Yeah, and they had like one section of him going of the movie going first person. That was it. Yeah, not great. Not particularly great. So like this is like again like might have been one of the first, probably not the first, but one of the first, at least here in the West, for us to see like a video game based show or movie, you know, a prop whatever, right, project actually be received pretty damn well.
Yeah.
Anything else you got, Jeff?
Another thing that was just an interesting fact to it is they spent $250 million on it. That's B. So
It's Netflix.
Yeah, I think I touched on it in the first half of the episode. Yeah, combined budget, reported to be 250 million.
Yeah.
For the budget for the.
It's Netflix. It's Tencent. They weren't gonna not pump money into this thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this is like again, like we talked about it during the Game Awards shows a little bit, right? Where we said like because you were talking about like how big League of Legends is and Riot is, obviously, right?
Right.
They got the fucking money to back it up. So there's that.
yeah, which is cool too because since it's Netflix, I'm surprised they didn't it's a really good show. Oh, it's gonna be canceled, dude. Thankfully the Arcane team was like, okay, we're gonna get 2 seasons, so Netflix can't screw us.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck my life.
Oh, tell me about it. Yeah, and Netflix, I'm still pissed off at was it the Dark Crystal series that was unceremoniously chopped. So yeah, I have issues with Netflix, but this is a good case. And yeah, that's about all I got. Yeah, go down the rabbit hole after watching the show.
Yeah, so the show only is getting 2 seasons. That's kind of like the one thing that I think a lot of people are thrown off by. Because, again, if we're strictly just talking about season 1 was very well received. And they essentially already had season 2 kind of ready to go, or ready to start, like, going, go into production. But again, 2 seasons are only focusing on specifically Piltover and Zaun, right? So I know that they kind of goes hand in hand with your desire for them to explore the other factions within the game. Again, you said that they have the Noxus thing going on currently within the game with some animations and stuff, some key artwork and stuff like that going on. I don't know what the extent the extent of what that's going to be, but I wouldn't be surprised if the next series they go into would be Demacia and Noxus, because I feel like those are the two known to be warring factions, right? What I mean? Like nations versus sick. Piltover and Zaun being cities, you know what I mean? If they can go bigger in scale, then yeah, Noxus and Demacia would be the next big thing.
Yeah, Demacia would be cool. You get Garen, you get all the other people.
Lux, Silas I feel like Silas would be a really cool story. Unfortunately, a lot of my characters are like in Shurima. So like Renekton, Nasus, all the Egyptian style characters. I guess Sivir would be kind of cool to be in there. And then like Jax, who's like kind of like a random nobody who just whoops ass. You know what I mean? He's literally a wandering warrior type of character.
Yeah, right.
I think he's technically attached to a nation, but I don't remember what. I think he might be Ionian. I don't remember, but like he is kind of like a
at least they have like a thing he's tied to. My favorite character is just an armadillo that rolls around and just kind of shows. Oh no, here he is, Shurima, whatever Shurima is.
Shurima's all the Egyptian characters, the desert characters.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. No,
so Sivir.
Here we go. We're here.
Chiana, I believe, is also Shorelia. Azir.
Yep.
But yeah, like Renekton is my guy. The Renekton and Nasus story is really cool. I would that would be really cool to see how they try to explore that kind of lore, because they're all essentially, they're not Egyptian gods. But they've received like a curse or a power from Egyptian gods essentially. So it'd be cool to explore those stories.
Oh, so like Moon Knight?
But kind of a little bit.
Yeah,
Because they become like guardians / protectors of the area that they're in. They're like blessed by the gods basically, through like a ritual. And I want to see what their take is on like a large scale combat thing, through like fully warring nations versus us having smaller skirmishes within the first 2 seasons and only 2 seasons of Arcane.
Yeah, no, I want to see. I want to see that. I want to see war. I want the Freljord, the Freljord too.
Oh yeah, no,
I want
Freljord would be
Tryndamere,
really fun to see.
and I want Volibear, and I want.
Because even there in the Freljord, there's three warring factions there too.
Oh yeah,
There's a lot to explore. I haven't been keeping up with what they've been putting out on their social medias aside from when the shows came out. But I don't know if anything's been teased upon for the upcoming any sort of upcoming visual projects that they're trying to do.
it's just Noxus from what I've heard.
Yeah, it's just that one
Okay.
Noxus teaser.
And that is that just an anime? Because I've seen like it's like
It's
semi-animated.
just
but like-
shorts. Yeah,
Is
it
there
looks
shorts?
like it's
Okay.
just going to be shorts. I'm sure if it garners enough attention, it'll turn into its own thing. But
I'm assuming. My assumption is Riot never drops anything for no reason.
right,
So I think it might be a possible teaser / getting people hype.
I'm sure.
Possible coming project, because at this point now that they've gotten the green light essentially from Netflix and the fans, there's a demand for it. You know what I mean?
Yep,
So
exactly.
I'm assuming that the studio's ready to put out more, as long as people are willing to watch, basically, and of course if Netflix is willing to help fund it. But yeah, I think again that's all I've really got. If you guys anything you want to touch upon before we wrap up here?
Oh, and the soundtrack is fire also. So
Yeah, soundtrack is great.
Do you guys like the opening theme?
I mean, I skip it. I listened to it the first time. It was fine. I've heard
I'm not-
Imagine
I'm-
Dragons. I'm good.
I'm not the biggest Imagine Dragons fan either, but I love the opening theme so much.
Hey,
I
enjoy
like
it then,
it.
dude. Yeah, I mean,
I like it. I
Yeah,
like
whatever,
it
man.
in its actual form. I like it when it's memed. You know what I mean? I kind of fuck with the song.
and I like the intros. I like how they adapt based on what's happening. But yeah, like I mentioned, I'm like, it's okay.
They put, like,
Don't get me
strings
wrong.
in some of
It's,
the episodes.
yeah, it's a perfectly fine, no issues. No complaints about it. Unlike some of the other Imagine Dragons songs, and
Right.
Imagine Dragons got some bangers out too. But yeah, I'm like, it's okay. I think that another song, another group would have done a more appropriate or fitting job. But it's okay. Can't complain.
Do you like the fact that they just showed up in a random episode?
They did.
Yeah, they just showed up in world. It was just them, like singing the song.
Oh,
I think it was like they were in the bar. I think it was like after Vander was out. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they just showed up like in the bar, like just playing their song.
oh. I mean, as long as that song, I mean, I'll have to review it, and as long as that song wasn't Thunder, at which point I'll throw the TV
Right.
out the window. I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that song either. To be fair, but Enemy, like I really fuck with that song for some reason. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the brain rot in me that kind of like just got like enjoyed it because of the memes as well.
Okay, here's it. Yeah, so instead of that song, go for Radioactive, All In.
No, I like for me it's like Enemy just in my Unga Bunga brain, like Enemy fits this world specifically so well.
Okay, I would say Radioactive goes Unga Bunga also, but yeah, like I said, no big complaints. Yeah, it was okay.
But yeah, aside from just the opening theme, yeah, no, again, the music is overall very well done. Riot in general do very good with their music. Their full on music team always does a bunch of like behind the scenes videos, right? When they do like character releases and in game and stuff like that. And those are all for me like fantastic to watch. There's so many of them now on YouTube that they're all just so like it's so good just watching them writing music specifically for the game, and exploring different ideas and motifs for different characters and stuff like that, and different nations and different factions and everything, right? Yeah, no, it's just really really cool. I like the pop artists that Riot gets involved with. I like the classical and traditional artists that Riot gets involved with. Overall, like in terms of theming, I think they just know exactly what to do when they're trying to create like a mood or a theme for anything basically at this point. I think they really know what they're doing. Yeah, okay. I think that's it for me. You guys good?
I'm good.
Yep, good on my end.
Okay, cool. Guys, thank you so much for listening. I know this was a little bit all over the place, but again, like, you know, we wanted to keep it we wanted to keep it a little bit light. We didn't want to go too deep into the details of the show. But guys, thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate the support. We're on all the audio streaming platforms. Share with a friend. Share with your grandma. Anyone.
Yeah.
We're gonna be, again, we got some more stuff coming out on the YouTube. I know Jeff's really stepping up right now. Tune in for the next episode. Take care.
See you guys.
All right, thanks everybody. Peace.
Hello?
Hello.
I kicked my cable. I think I DC'd a little bit.
Oh,
No,
wow.
we're good. Leave it in.
Okay.
I was gonna
cool.
say like, so Netflix canceled you too then.
Yeah, Netflix hurt.
But yeah, I my stupid Ethernet cable. I think I just need a new one. Yeah, no, absolutely. Again, the show only is getting 2 seasons.
Whoa,
That.
you are way too close to your microphone.
Oh, sorry. 1 second.
You're like this. Oh, your microphone.